I can't auto edit. Don't worry about that. All right, let's do this. I think we're gonna do this. I think we're gonna go live.
Alright, that's
Three,
awesome.
2, 1. Hey, what's going on, everyone? It is Disconcur here, and welcome to Ep02 of Heroes Untapped, the ANZ podcast for Heroes of the Storm. So tonight on the show to me tonight, it's we don't have HappyRage. We've had some power issues, as you may have guessed. We had some issues because we didn't do the show last night. So HappyRage had his power knocked out for like about 16 hours. It was insane how long it was out for.
That's suicidal material, that.
It is.
Jesus Christ.
Got a message from him this morning. It's like, hey, sorry, mate. Just got to work and just charged my phone.
That's
So,
wrong without power. Like, what do you do with yourself?
you don't play Heroes of the Storm. That's what you don't do. Tragedy. Anyway, so my co-host isn't joining me tonight, guys. But however, instead, we do have joining me will be first off Morton. Morton, welcome to the
Sup?
stream, mate, or podcast or show, whatever we are. Go ahead, introduce yourself.
Well, I'm Morton. I've only been playing HOTS for probably like 3 months now, maybe. But it's been pretty awesome. Almost got myself to rank 1. So close. So far. Yeah. And I live in New Zealand as well, which is pretty different to most people.
That's actually really good because that's you're bringing the NZ part of the ANZ to the show.
The small NZ part.
I was worried for a couple while there was just going to be the Heroes of the Storm WA show. Disconcur and all his friends. Crickets. All right, so that is Morton. Also joining on the show tonight is Clapton. Go ahead and introduce yourself, mate. How are you this
Hey
evening?
guys, my name's Luke. In game I'm Clapton, which is the result of I'm really not supposed to be called Clapton, but that's a story for another day. I've been playing Heroes since the early alpha. You know, I'm rank 1, got like 800 games. You know, usual stuff. I think everyone knows me at least a little bit.
You are definitely a very active person on the ANZ forums. I think your name is in everything. Sometimes
I have nothing better to do, apparently.
sometimes you're insightful, sometimes you're not, but you're just there. You're like, you don't play Murky at all, do you? Like, he's everywhere.
I've played Murky a few times, but I'm more partial to Stitches.
Oh, you're after the Chinese heart because they play a lot of Stitches over in the Chinese region, I think, or the Asian region. Stitches is pretty big in the meta, I've heard. I don't know how true that is. I've just what Reddit tells me. And last but not least, we do have a lucky third guest, and that is Shadowrogue from ESS. Tell me, Shadowrogue, how are you going, mate? How are you tonight? Introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Yeah, so I'm Shadowrogue. I'm 18 years old. Yeah, I've been playing Heroes of the Storm for like 6 months. I didn't get to play in alpha because of this permanent disconnect bug where the options would appear out of nowhere and I'm stuck forever.
The permanent
So
disconnect bug, we have that in
yeah.
Australia. That's called our standard internet infrastructure.
Yeah, fucking internet. But nevertheless, I came back in beta and rocked on from there, playing every day for more than 6 hours. So yeah. And I do have a lot of MOBA experience, let's say 13 to 14 years, consisting of Dota for 9 years and then League for 5 years. So yeah, pretty lots of MOBA experience, but yeah. And the July qualifiers are the saddest talk so far. Had Morton come into fuel, and he was like, "No, mate, I got a party, but like, no more. We need you now." And he got upset. He didn't know he was gonna play, but we surprised him. We had one of our members because he thought we were going to AFAC for a fair bit, and HappyRage was like, "Hurry up! Basilisk wants the verse." I'm like, "Please, we've been playing since 10 a.m. non-stop. It's just, please, we need the break." And then yeah, we had more come fill in, and yeah, Clapton was hanging around, but yeah, it was either him or Clapton to sub for us for the game against Basilisk. But we did well, 2-1, and sad part is 5th place. We lost against the Mises team, best of 1 round.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's about it.
Well, there's some pretty hard competition to come up against. You know, at least you can feel rest assured that you lost to Basilisk. They are in the championship this weekend, so you lost to a high tier team. You're not losing to one of the lower ones. But not that there is lower teams in the ANZ scene. Just there's definitely more skillfuls skillful ones. Anyway, so it's moving on. That's introduction, guys. It's I just want to put it out there in advance. If my quality doesn't sound as good as last week, it's because I have to use a crappier mic. My microphone died last week, and it's very upsetting.
Rip.
But you may notice that my video now syncs to my voice. Woohoo! Technology, science. So let us move on. We got a great show. Actually, we got a great show for everyone lined up tonight. Let's talking about my stupid broken devices. So in our Inside the Nexus segment, we'll be talking about the recent patch that came out. More interesting, just the hot fix. Oh, not hot fixes, but the fixes to two heroes, notably Zeratul. Then we just look at the July qualifiers round. We'll also talk about the ACL ANZ finals happening this weekend. I hope you boys are excited for that. And
Hype.
then we're just going to have a little bit of chat because the Legacy of the Void pre-order was released, and cool thing about that is that there's a Heroes character up for grabs in that. And then just Blizzard's announcement at Gamescon, which as of this morning we all know what it is, but we're still going to have a bit of talk about it anyway. And then just to take out the show, we will do a bit of gaming discussion on King Leoric. It's just talking about sort of a little bit about him, how he plays him, and players' reactions to him coming on the scene. So first up, we'll get inside the Nexus, which I changed. We're calling it Nexus News. I'm now going to call it Inside the Nexus because I think it sounds a little bit better. And first up, patch notes. So two hot fixes, I call them hot fixes, came out on Tuesday. I think a lot of people were expecting some balance changes. We saw nothing along those lines. We only saw two hero fixes come out. And the first one being, just a quote, they fixed an issue that could allow Zeratul to travel much further than intended while using Shadow Assault. Much further than intended. He could travel the entire map. He could go from the...
Am I the only one that's disappointed by that?
Was that...
I love the idea of a Zeratul appearing out of nowhere to murder you and then disappear just as quickly. Am I the only one disappointed that got changed?
It's actually funny you bring that up
Does that already?
Well, they were talking about that on Reddit. They were like, "Oh, come on, Blizzard, don't just patch this up as a bug. Like, we'll just expand his heroic." It's like, no, that's not a bug, guys. That's how it's meant to work. So what are you guys? Are you guys happy to see that, or were you guys in the camp? I'll get Shadowrogue first. Were you possibly in the camp of, hey, maybe we could actually turn that into his heroic, a sort of teleport across the map, or do you like Shadow Assault how it is in its current form? Because you don't really see it that often.
Yeah, you don't really see the Shadow Assault much, really. But since I bought Zeratul, I've been using that a lot. I've never went Void Prison much. I've always decided, alright, I'm gonna build up Seasoned Marksman, I'm gonna get Follow Through, I'm gonna get Assassin's Blade, I'm gonna get all these damage. I just want to kill someone. I don't want to keep hiding forever. And I always thought, hey, if there could be a single extra range on this ult, I'd take it every time. Like, I didn't get to try it though, because I heard about it, but I'm sad that it's patched. I mean, every time I use Shadow Assault and then there's someone running to run away, use Sprint, I'm just like, oh, where's the range when I need it now? And it's just because it's very small. I tend to really get up close, and that leads me to die most of the time. But yeah, it's a shame to hear about that being patched. I would love to have tried that out, nuking from everywhere. Blinking in and out and such, so yeah.
From the couple of times I did see it, I never tried it myself, but from what I did see, it did really unbalance that heroic though. I mean, it took, you could be playing Zeratul and you could be sitting on one side of the map and you could turn a 4v5 into a 5v5 or a 1v2, or you could just really unbalance team fights. And I think if everyone was on the same page and they knew about it, it wouldn't be as so devastating. But anyway, it's not intentional. It's been fixed. So there's no fear about it. We will see him in the ACL this weekend, obviously, because he's fixed. He's not broken. There's no reason to auto-ban him anymore.
But I mean, like, they could have just, like, banned Shadow Assault by itself. They didn't have to, like, remove a whole hero, because one of his ults, which is an option to take, is broken.
I think there was discussion. I think they were originally just going to ban the actual thing itself, like just the heroic. So, but I mean, like I said, it's fixed. It's not a problem anymore. Everyone can play their Zeratools to their heart content this weekend. All right, so that's the other fix that happened was, so new heroes obviously when released are never perfect, and there was an issue with Leoric's Drain Hope ability. So he's a new hero King Leoric, and his W was a Drain Hope, which when hit a target, it would drain it for a percentage of their life. It's, doing damage. Sounds pretty cool. Apparently, it was doing it was the correct. The values were correct, but it was doing 20. It was doing the 25% drain onto the Dragon Knight, the Garden Terror,
Oh,
and combined with a talent at a later stage where it would nuke someone for 10% of their life. I mean, King Leorics everywhere for the last week were just nuking down Garden Terrors and Dragon Knights. Like
yeah,
it was stupid to see these things
brutal.
fall. And so, but anyway, that's been fixed as well. It's did you guys hear about that? What's your
Yeah.
take on it? Do you think maybe we should have left it? Should King Leoric be the Dragon Slayer?
No way.
Nah.
No way. That's too broke. I mean,
Yeah.
on maps like Garden Terror and Dragon Knight, having that thing is supposed to be a huge advantage. And well, you got this skinny, bony prick that walks up and just hi, no more health. How is that? That's a bit of a jib to me.
And obviously the developers of Blizzard did agree when someone brought it up to Dustin Browder on Twitter. Oh, I hope I say his last name right. I'm terrible with last names. He did mention that it's not the damage was too much. They did say that these damage is still pretty decent against the targets, but I believe it's capped. I don't know what figure it's capped at, but the damage has been capped.
Yeah, it was
Good work.
ridiculous, honestly. Like this, just the damage it could do on the, like, monstrosity. Oh, sorry, Terror and Dragon Knight's
Well,
ridiculous.
it was anything that was classified as a monstrosity object or a monstrous object, which is right now
Yeah.
the Garden Terror and the Dragon Knight.
Yeah.
So we'll just a little short segment on that, just highlighting to people what bugs are out there or what has been fixed now. All right, so Shadowrogue, I get a huge opinion from you on this one. July qualifiers were done over the weekend. We had the second round of the qualifiers leading into the ANZ Championships. You actually got to participate as Ethereal Shadow Stars,
Yep, that's it.
and actually you guys didn't do too bad. It's I managed to watch a couple of your replays and shoutcasted one. Head over to my YouTube channel if you want to check out the replays between ESS and No Show. Sorry, just plugging myself there. Tell us what you think. Summarize the tournament for us as a participant. How did it go? Did you enjoy it? Was it good? Just what are your opinions?
Yeah, so I originally formed the group with Thunderjar, but I decided to go split from him because he wanted to do some sponsoring with his teams. So he let us off, and it was 2 weeks before the qualifiers, so we just did some hard practice. We scrimed against our rival team, I do know now, it's Basculus.
Yeah.
Love playing against closest team. We learn a lot from him. I mean, we do get hammered by Hack with his Thrall. It's deadly, and we love playing against him.
The
Really good
Moondos
guys.
Sonya. There's the real carry.
Actually, just quickly
Moondos.
going back to Thrall. Did you say Thrall? How good? Sorry, I had to say that was my favorite moment in the entire tournament. Was when was it you guys drafted Thrall on the second map?
And it was a shaky pick, but I think if we played more better with our ults and timing, I remember I was playing the Arthas on the Dragon Shrine. I believe, that was it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was new who was playing him, and I don't know. I think just more practice, and we would have aced it. I think it would have been more better.
There was a couple of really good.
Sometimes he'd do Sundering first, and then I do my ult, and then it's a bit shaky from there.
Yeah.
Because they picked us off.
I was gonna say I did notice there was a couple of times when the Sundering went down and it knocked people out of things. I think there was a flame strike from Kelthid at one stage where the Sundering did knock someone out. But I mean, it was still good to really see him, and that was the only Sundering that I saw that was a real game changer at that time. That once-off Sunder. So that's I thought it was a pretty good tournament. It's I'd tell just quick my own sort of observations of it. So just looking at what winners we did have come out of it, the top four. So we did have, where are they? I got them listed here in a weird thing. So we had Team Immunity White, which is obviously we all thought they were going to win, no worries. Basilisk, TDS, and Uproar. Just out of this list, so Team Immunity White, Basilisk, TDS, and Uproar. Do you guys if I told you last week that they were going to be the top four in the qualifiers, what would you have told me? Would you have said Disco, you are insane.
I probably would have said Apex would be there. Definitely
same
Apex.
I agree. I would have said Apex. Like Immunity and Apex were the two I had like put down guarantee, and then the others are really open. Like there's a lot of competition.
Yeah.
It was really good. So it's like I was sort of impressed. Like I was looking at it, and we had Apex beat TDS. Like they beat TDS in the best of three. Really convincing games as well, if you ask me. And then so obviously,
It was 2-1.
yeah,
Yeah.
still convincing. I mean, yeah, sometimes
Yeah.
you throw games for the fun of it, don't you? That's a thing.
To make
No,
it
well, I mean
close.
they're pretty good games.
Yeah.
However, Inept also got knocked out, which is I think they're they go through name changes, like whether they're Buttercup and then they were Bricks, Mortar and Beers or something like that in the MSI or something like that. I mean, just huge like name changes. They're a pretty good team, really solid. There was one game they had in Black Hearts Bay. It was over in 12 minutes. I mean, it's it was a one-sided match. I can't remember who they were playing, but it was very one-sided. But
Yeah.
then TDS in the losers bracket just swamped both of these teams. Just came out and just like beat Apex, hands down, no worries, and then went on to beat Inept. Or I can't hang on, was that the bracket? One way or the other. Like took out really two strong teams, which I was expecting to be in the lineup as well. So that's why I'm just saying,
Yeah.
like, it's not that any of these teams in the thing are bad, but this is not the next four I was expecting to go on. It's yeah, Shadowrogue, obviously you've got to play against. Did you get to play against any of these guys in the tournament? TDS or TDS? Obviously you play against Basilisk, but TDS or Apex, did you guys get to play against them?
No, they were in the so-called the Doom bracket, the hard bracket. I have to note, we and Basilisk were the two lucky teams to be in the bottom bracket, so we got the easy way out, but we still, had to push our way through.
Hmm.
But I do feel sorry for everyone else because they had to face off with extreme opponents. I mean, like, this is like, I don't know how many scrums they've done with them, but it must have been, pretty hard. I mean, like, we have to make sure we can't fail here, we can't fail there. We have to take, yeah, it's all mind games from there on. Who's the better of the best? Yeah.
Well, just going back to let's just go to that point, we're talking about this. We're actually talking about the brackets. It's you do make a pretty fair point, particularly in the losers bracket side of the house. So we had the top half where we had teams like we had no sorry not shows Inept, TDS. No shows weren't too bad. I enjoyed watching their games. And then and then Apex coming down. So TDS for starters coming down. Inept, Apex, and then that would have followed up to fight Uproar had they done their game. But then we have the bottom bracket, and it was just not unknown teams, but just some of the less seen or less popularized in the ANZ community. And it seemed like to me the lower end of the losers bracket was just a little bit weaker in competitiveness or nature.
Yeah.
Guys, you reckon
I
that's a
mean, it,
fair observation, or
Yeah,
am
I
I
feel like
just full of it?
pretty much throughout the whole tournament, the top side of the bracket seemed to be quite a bit more stacked in terms of like more well-known kind of teams.
And I have to think that if Immunity White wasn't in this, if they had stayed as Immunity as whole, the brackets would have been vastly different, and the top four
Yeah.
teams might not have been the top four teams we have.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was actually another thing as well. Team Immunity having to requalify, well, not Team Immunity, but a portion of Team Immunity from the split having to requalify. I think also throughout everything for a lot of people, and that will be. And I'm very glad that they did manage to get into it because there's always that fear that maybe Team Immunity White won't get in because they really haven't had time to form a proper team. Like they've got a team, and it's a very fantastic, very good team, but that synergy that you get from practicing with the same people for weeks and weeks and weeks on end, I concerned that they weren't going to have it.
Yeah. But I mean, 3 of them were already like from the main team because they also had their main sub join the team who like played with them a load. So
Yeah.
I think and they added Sashin as well who played with them quite a bit. So
I mean, you've got
it was
two veteran players in Robodoba and Shy,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
the sub Nayu,
no, yeah,
and three veteran players. That will always help a team work well together because these guys have played the game forever. They were one of the first teams to be formed. They have had probably more experience than most every other team except for maybe Exile 5. So I honestly think they were a sure thing for the qualifier. As I said though, if they weren't in this qualifier, I don't think we would have had the same teams qualifying for the finals.
Yep. All right, would
Yeah.
have been looking very, very different. All right, so that's the July qualifier done and dusted. So we have our best of 8 in the ANZ scene now, and this weekend is the ACL ANZ Championship.
It's going to be good.
It's going to be
Yeah.
great. I mean, we look at this lineup of teams, and even with saying the the teams coming up from the second qualifier, I mean, this looks like a great lineup. So we got XL5, Team Unity Black, Silicon Sports, Salty Dogs, Team Unity White, Basilisk, TDS, and Uproar. And just before this show, we actually had the bracket announced, so we actually know who's going to be fighting who
Oh, I
in the
didn't hear
first
of
round.
this.
This is hot off the press.
Give me the link. I want to see.
I think Happy did note that. I don't know if it was Happy that he noted that it's already out.
It only came out like
Uh,
as far as I'm aware, in the last hour. So I might do just a quick thing for anyone in the Twitch stream. I'll drop it in the chat as well. Go check that out. Those are the brackets, and obviously I could make it so you guys could see it, but nah, it's the podcast. The recording's a secondary thing. So the round 8, the first round, we have XL5 versus Uproar, and then we have Team Unity Black versus Basilisk. The next game after that is TDS versus Immunity White. And then Salty Dogs versus Silicon Sports.
I want to see that one. That's the one I want to see.
That's Salty Dogs versus Silicon Sports. That's a bit of a grudge match, isn't it? Because I think in the June qualifier, Salty Dogs knocked. Did they? Or maybe I'm just full of it. Yeah, it's Salty Dogs knocked Silicon Sports into the loser bracket.
Yeah,
So
so they get a chance for a rematch. That's
Yeah.
the one I'm looking forward to the most. I want to see these two duke it out.
Well, they're both great teams, and I think Silicon Sports in the top run of teams, right? If you said like the most popular or most known about teams in the AZ scene, Silicon Sports are the newest to that mix, aren't they? Discarding Team Immunity White, because they've actually sponsored by a proper sponsorship team as well.
Yeah, they're the third official team to be sponsored, if I'm not wrong. Like, so Exile 5 used to be 5 Hype, I believe. Immunity used to be PNAD, and then Silicon Sports, well, they used to be Karma, so...
I'm waiting to see the Immunity versus Immunity final.
Oh,
The ultimate grudge match.
That'll be brilliant.
Yeah.
it's I've talked to a few people about that, and the brackets, it's
perfect for it.
it's probably randomized, right? And there's a pretty good chance
Yeah.
the bracket would turn out like this. But yeah, we could have a grand final against Team Immunity Black versus Team Immunity White.
Yeah.
It's and I think that would be intense. Theoretically, theater would be magical on that game. So just was it so? Shadowrogue been a little bit quiet on the situation. What do you reckon? What are your top game to watch in that first round of 8? And we'll start with you as well after that. Who is it? Who's going to be in the grand final? What do you think are going to be the two teams? Prediction, boys. Prediction time.
Man. Oh.
You will be criticized next week for your mistakes.
It's very hard, but if I had to put my money on, I'm gonna go 50-50 on Basilisk and Salty Dogs for now. I think, yeah. It's only because they're the two teams I've seen mostly in action.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anyone else like XL5 or TDS. I've seen Immunity White, of course, but yeah, the rest of the other 3 teams are just unknown to me, really. So I don't know. I can't really throw risking money there and shit.
So that was Basilisk and Salty Dogs, did you say?
Yeah, 50-50 on them too, for sure. I'd like to see them duke it out in grand finals. That would be a nice match to see.
Yeah. All right, that's it. And so that's your 2 finalists. Nice match. Is that also your most anticipated game? Like, is that the game you 100% want to see, or is it like, I'd really love to see Silicon Sports versus Salty Dogs, or the XL5 versus Basilisk, or is that it? Your prediction is also the game you want to see.
Yeah, I guess so in the same manner, but if we go for the round of 8, I'd like to see Exile 5 win, Basilisk win next, have them duke it out, then have Immunity White win, and then either Salty or Silicon Sports, they can duke it out with each other and see how it goes from there. Yeah, would be nice to see that.
All right,
Well,
awesome.
but yeah, good luck to the other teams too. I mean, I'm not hating on anyone,
Mm.
so yeah, it's all right.
Well, if the July qualifiers showed us anything, is that anyone, like any team, can win, right? You
Yeah.
could be the most experienced team in the world. You could be a favorite. Everyone could be cheering you on. So what we saw with Apex, and Apex got knocked out. It's
Yeah,
how it happens.
rip.
You got to be, and it's not a
Yeah.
bad thing. It's new blood, new teams are great for the environment. All right, so Clapton, what about yourself? What do you think? What's your favorite? What's your most anticipated match, and who you reckon will be in the grand finals?
I so desperately want to see Silicon Sports and Salty Dogs duke it out because I've got a grudge against Silicon for 100% banning my stitches. I dislike them for that. Lets me play the big fat undead man. He's my favourite. But as for winning it, I'm torn between one of the immunity teams or Exile 5. I'm really not certain.
Mm.
Not sure which way it's going to swing just yet.
Mm.
All right, and Morton, what about you, mate? What is
I
your?
reckon the match I probably want to the match I want to see the most is probably would just be immunity versus immunity, just because it's like bringing everyone back together for just a
Yeah,
one big grudge match. Um, but also another game I think would be really good to watch would probably be Immunity Black versus XL5.
yeah.
Because yeah, they've always been like pretty close competitors, and it'll be good to see like if Immunity can like play up to what they were before the like roster changes.
Mm.
So
And yeah, that would actually be really good as well. Just
yeah,
compare the old remnants to the new remnants and stuff.
yeah.
That's awesome. All right, and so
See how
my
Immunity hold up.
my what I'd actually really like to see is so Soddy Dog Silicon Sports is also my favorite as well. It's I think there's a little bit of a again a grudge just because they got if I was on a team and I came off against someone that knocked me into the losers bracket, I'd have a grudge for life. I
No
thought
mercy.
I'd hate everyone. Obviously, I'd hate all teams then. That's why I don't compete. But that's my thing there. But what I reckon is I think looking at that top bracket, so Uproar, Basilisk, Immunity Black, I think XL5 are just they're too seasoned. I really think they're going to take it away to the finals in that run because they're just too much of a seasoned team. Immunity
Yeah,
Black is untested. We haven't seen the whatever Team Black is now. We haven't sorry Team Immunity Black I should say. We haven't seen what they do or what they are or how they perform. Um, so I think XL5 is probably going to take that top bracket out. Now the bottom bracket again, we've got TDS. I mean, did really good in the July, so you can't say they're a bad team.
yeah.
Immunity White we didn't see the final game, but they probably would have been the winners had we played out all matches. I dare say. So I think we're actually probably, you know what? Oh, I think we're going to see XL5 versus Team Immunity White. I think I
In the
think that's
final.
it. That's going to be the final. XL5 and Team Immunity White is my guess. I have a secret love, I have to confess, for Salty Dogs. I just think I love their name, I love their icon and stuff. But I think they will beat Silicon Sports because their history dictates they will. But I don't think they'll beat the new Team Immunity White. But
No.
anyway, these are just predictions. Who knows how we go? We could be having a TDS Basilisk grand final. I know. We'll find out in a couple of
Nobody
days' time.
knows.
I don't care who plays the grand final. I just want to see Murky at least once.
You want to
That'll
see?
make the tournament for me. Just give me my Murkies. Give me a Murky game.
I would love, and he's not going to come out, but I would love to see King Leoric. But he is an auto banned, so there will be no King Leoric this grand final. Unfortunately, he's just too much of an early pick.
That's okay. We can look forward to Blizzcon when the Australian team stomps everyone else.
Oh, how good would that be? That's a topic for another day. How good will we go at the road to BlizzCon? All right,
Today
so
they were
that
playing in the what was it the Tavern Brawl or something today for NA. And there was so much Leoric being played. Like he was pretty big like contested pick as well and everything. So it'll be good to see when he's like implemented to
a
ANZ afterwards.
I think he's a great character, and we're going to talk more
Yeah.
about King Leoric a little bit later in the show. So moving on. So we have seen over the last couple of weeks, I can't remember when it was, but the Legacy of the Void pre-order has come up for StarCraft 2. And so you're probably thinking, gee, StarCraft 2, this is a Hero of the Storm podcast. What's going on here? Well, the reason we bring up Legacy of the Void is because if you pre-order, that's right, if you pre-order right now, right this second, and up until release, I guess, not only are you going to get the lovely Legacy of the Void game, but because Blizzard love to cross-promote now on all their products like a boss, you'll also get access to the soon-to-be-revealed StarCraft 2 Warrior for Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah,
No
we've,
Yeah.
way.
we've needed one of
Oh,
those for a long
That's
time.
Well, people have been asking
Twitch.
for it for ages. I see that the background yelling there at the net cafe going on.
Sell out. Sell out. Blizzard
So,
wants our money.
oh, I mean, they're going to do a very good job of it because it's I think I'll tell you what, I think I'll probably be pre-ordering StarCraft. Oh, I'm going to pre-order it anyway. Let's face it. But it's definitely swayed me a little bit more. Um,
Yeah.
what's your speculation, Captain? What do you reckon? Who is the StarCraft 2 warrior going to be?
I'm not that big on my StarCraft lore, which is odd because I'm big on the lore for every other Blizzard game in existence. If I had to make a guess, it's the Essence Hunter from Heart of the Swarm. He seems like a warrior player.
Oh, was he? I can't remember his name now. Daraka or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. But he's the guy you meet on that Zerg planet. He's like,
Yeah.
no, I
I,
absorb the essence of
the
Zerg.
raptor. He's got the raptor arms, or
Yeah,
the
there you go.
Tyrannosaurus arms.
Yeah, the cannibal Zerg. I reckon it'll be him. Either that or the big gigantic primal Zerg that kind of lurches out of the ground.
Yep. Well,
Because
I thought about that, right, and he'd be pretty cool. But because Zerg right now they've made such this huge essence grab, would he? Would we be looking at something that maybe plays a bit similar to the Butcher, in that if they did have him, he would also be a something stacking. Like instead of fresh meat, you'd have essence, or like this is just all speculation. We have no idea what any of their abilities are going to be like.
we might just get the first ability-based warrior in existence. Like, think Jaina if she had Leoric's hammer.
That sounds scary, actually. Let's
They think of Leoric
let's give
with
Jaina another
gathering
way to
power.
slow you. I see what you mean.
I'm honestly not certain as to, like I said, I don't know that much StarCraft. For all we know, we might get one of the Terran leader guys. Like,
Yep.
a lot of people speculate Tosh, for example. He might be it, or Prince Valerian, or whatever. In any case, it doesn't really matter who it is. A StarCraft warrior will fill the gap very nicely.
It'd be a very nice addition to it. Clapton, what about you? Sorry, not Clapton. Sorry, Morton. I should say Morton. What about yourself? What do you think?
I have honestly no clue. Like,
No idea?
I've never like played or watched StarCraft or like looked into it at all. I'm pretty much just I'll read what abilities they do when they get into HOTS and I'll be happy. But yeah,
Yeah.
as in like guessing who's coming into HOTS, I'm clueless.
All right. And Shadowrogue, yourself, do you have any ideas, mate? What do you think it might be? Or
I have no clue. I've
that,
also
I'm
never played.
I'm obviously the only StarCraft 2 player on here. Well, I'll tell you.
Yeah,
I'll tell you who I think it is. I've got two guesses, and one would be he'd be a StarCraft 2 fan favorite if he came into it. He's a character from StarCraft 1. He's probably the biggest, baddest, in my opinion, Protoss of them all. He is Phoenix, the Zealot Warrior, who was so hardcore that when he died, his body got put into one of their robot dragoons, and he still continued to kick ass even as a dragoon. I reckon I've got big hopes for him.
I
However,
mean,
Legacy of the Void, it is about the Protoss, or Phoenix's Protoss. However, there is one main character, the person you are in Legacy of the Void, for the main storyline, the main campaign, and that is Antares. I hope that's his name, Artaris. Antanuous. Oh, I can't say it properly. Antanis. That's who it is. Artanis. And he is the current leader of the Protoss. A lot of people are speculating it's going to be him, purely because it's going to drive up there a little bit more of their hype for Legacy of the Void. And he looks like a bit of a badass, to be honest. He's
I'm just waiting for the inevitable StarCraft 2 themed event.
the Eternal Conflict version of StarCraft.
It'll happen. I mean, Warcraft has billions of heroes, so that's something that'll happen one day. And they just did a Diablo one to get hype for that, so it kind of makes sense they'll bring out a StarCraft one eventually.
Well, do you reckon they'll drop the StarCraft one around the same time Legacy of the Void, or do you think they'll sort of offset it in its release? Just so obviously.
Hard to tell with Blizzard because this isn't Heroes of the Storm related, but they've also just announced that their next WoW X pack is coming out. So they're layering all sorts of different events on top of each other. It's really hard to tell with Blizzard these days.
They're definitely trying to change themselves up a little bit, It's and actually just going to that point, so we'll move on. So actually, Legacy of the Void. Actually, one more thing, Legacy of the Void. If you order the digital collector's super edition of Legacy of the Void, you also get the coolest looking surfboard mount for Heroes of the Storm as well.
Surfboard.
It looks amazing, and another reason why I'm probably going to buy it. Just moving on, you just bring it up. So Blizzard had a huge press release going to be happening at Gamescon. Starts on next week. It's due the 5th to the 9th of August, Gamescon, and I think on the Thursday night. So it's either on the 9th, on the 7th or something like that, is when they're doing their actual press release for something. And we didn't know what it was until this morning. It's they've announced their next World of Warcraft expansion, or they're going to announce it. Which it's sad for me because I was hoping for something Heroes of the Storm related, like, hey, guess what, guys? The Eternal Conflict's over, and now we're going into the big game hunters. Woo! StarCraft 2 stuff.
That's the way. That's the way.
But yeah, I don't think they'd do a huge press announce for that.
I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't bring out a new Warcraft themed hero for the WoW release. That wouldn't surprise me.
Well, that's an interesting thing there. So we're coming to the end of the Eternal Conflict, aren't we? They haven't given us an end date, but you look at they've released Johanna, they've released the Butcher, Leoric's out. In 2 weeks' time, because this is the 3-week development cycle Blizzard wants, in about 2 weeks' time, we should see the Monk.
Oh, fantastic!
So are we ending? Are we going to see the Eternal Conflict end, and then they're going to start generating some World of Warcraft hype? Because you're going to have the expansion, the announcement of the expansion. It's going to get a whole bunch of people playing WoW. Then, after WoW, after that dies down a little bit, we'll release a WoW-themed Heroes of the Storm conflict. And then once that's died down, we drop Legacy of the Void. And once Legacy of the Void dies down, we drop the StarCraft 2. Do you think we might see a sort of a development cycle like that to sort of build, to really capitalize on all that hype?
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me in the least. I mean, let's be honest. They do also. This is Heroes of the Storm. It's cross-brand. It's doing. We got WoW heroes. We got Diablo heroes. We got StarCraft heroes. Hell, we got the Lost Vikings. You can ride the Hearthstone card as a mount now. It wouldn't surprise me in the least if we had a Warcraft-themed map. Maybe something to do with Maybe something to do with End Time, example, or even Warlords of Draenor as a event-themed map. It won't surprise me. StarCraft, there'll be one. They'll do all sorts of stuff for this to keep the hype up, and honestly, it's probably a very good thing to make sure that Heroes continues to evolve. It just doesn't become stale.
Yeah. It needs to compete with all the other MOBAs, really. Even though it's cross-branded and everything, unlike all the other MOBAs, it's still going to become a massive esport.
They're definitely driving it that way. It's Shadowrogue. What do you think on that hype? Do you see? Obviously, you've formed a team for Heroes of the Storm. Do you think it's going to grow? They want it to be a massive esports. They've got the feel, they've got the backing, they've got the money. Is it going to get there, having experienced the ANZ scene so far?
Oh, man, I mean, I think what really would drive Heroes of the Storm is more heroes and some more maps. I think, and it's perfect the way it is, how it's structured. People are disliking the fact that there's no items because they're originally Dota players or League of Legends players, and I think just more heroes would just give it some time. Put it to esports. I think people will get more word of it, and more and more people will start to come over the years coming.
Yeah, and more people get excited about it, and just ramp up all that sort of awesome hype. And the hero problem hopefully will be fixed as we see these 3-week development cycles. I mean that's massive. 3 weeks, every 3 weeks a new hero, or 3 to 4 weeks if they stick to it.
Oh, that's the dream.
Oh, and and they've done a pretty good job. I mean, we had Johanna, Butcher, King Leoric, the Monk. It's going to come out soon. I mean, they're doing a great job of getting these characters out. And once you get over the initial, oh my god, it's a new hero, they're so OP, blah blah blah. Thrall, rest in peace, because you actually did get nerfed, bro. The new heroes are relatively decent in the mix of the scene. Having said that, all new heroes are also currently in the top tiers, so maybe there is something fundamentally wrong there. But I feel that most heroes are pretty well balanced. They do a pretty good job, except Thrall. He had to be nerfed. He had to be doom hammered.
On LoL, they started off when I first started, they brought out champions every 2 weeks maybe, and now it's pretty much turned into you're lucky to get a champion every 3 months. So But I mean, like with HOTS, there's so many like characters that you can just take from other games, so it's like a lot more straightforward than for LoL.
Yeah.
But yeah, the way they're
And,
bringing out
and
Heroes
plus,
at the moment
Heroes of
is
the
pretty
Storm
awesome.
has got the backing of Blizzard, and that's a huge company
Yeah.
as well. I mean, it's nothing like Riot to supposedly say they're free-to-play company. You know, Blizzard has the support of millions of players, so they're going to have the development potential to bring out all sorts of interesting things.
Yeah, I think what they need to.
Sorry.
I think what they need to do when they bring out new heroes is they have to bring out like more mechanically, like higher skill capped heroes because, like I don't know, heroes like maybe Zeratul or even
Vikings.
Nova. Yeah, Vikings. Like heroes like that are what makes a game good. You can see like which players are good instead of like people just making a good team. You need to have people that like stand out. Like so you can tell if a player's good, like if they're good on Zeratul or
Yeah.
whereas some heroes it's just like really too basic.
Is that just to ease out the learning curve for a lot of heroes? Like, are there just some heroes that they're just learned heroes? You play them to learn how the game functions, or you're
Yeah.
not. I don't want to play Zeratul because I just don't like that blinky game. I do like the more basic game. I mean, I think diversity is really the most important thing here,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's because everyone has different play styles, and we're trying to cram so much into all these different heroes. So diversity, I think, is the way to go. Personally, it's,
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, for like to develop esports, I think for it to just keep growing, it's just like
Mm.
bring out way more unique, like really
Mm.
high mechanical heroes. That'll make it a lot better.
Yeah. Well, I think the Leech King was sorry, not Leech King, King Leoric, sorry, was a great step towards that with his undying trait. Just it
Yeah,
was
yeah,
it was interesting, it's unique, and it actually functions really well in the game.
yeah,
So on that, we'll finish up. That was the all the cool stuff that's happened in the last week in the ANZ scene and for Heroes in the Storm in general. So now we're going to move on into our let's call it game discussion. And obviously, this week's game discussion, we're going to be talking about, and we mentioned him a couple of times already, we're going to be talking about King Leoric. He is back from the dead, sort of. He's back from the dead as undead, and he is, as if you've asked me, he is rocking the
yeah.
hero scene at the moment. I think he's a great hero, and
Mm.
we'll just give a brief introduction for those of you who I don't know play Heroes of the Storm but live under rocks or something like that, and only come out once in a blue moon. Last week we saw King Leoric get dropped onto us. He's a warrior from the Diablo 3 franchise, some word like that, and he's doing I know he's doing a great job. I mean, he sprung onto us. He's got this cool, really unique trait that just makes him very different to play, or potentially different to play, and it's just been a lot of fun. So it's just before we go on, what are your guys' initial reactions on King Leoric?
He's not murky, everybody. He does still give XP when he dies. Just saying, just saying.
I can't agree with you more. And my first game ever, I was guilty of this. I thought, hey, let's revive in the middle of a Jaina Kael'thas Uther Taronda. That seems like an excellent idea. Yeah, no. I got trash talked so much, and you know what? I deserved it.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's quite strong. He's like not overpowered, and like
Hmm.
he works in certain comps, and he's like, I wouldn't say perfect, but he's a strong pick.
I was about to say, Shadowrogue, a little bit quiet over there, mate. What is your opinions
Mm,
of the Skeleton King?
I've faced it a lot against players. I've used it a lot as well. One of the games I did with my team before we went a bit quiet is we were doing Black Hearts Bay, and I just left the team. I went off to do my own stuff, and I was hitting forts. I was being ignored, basically. They come back, they kill me, and I'm still there. I'm hitting all their keeps, and they're just like, Shadow, our hero, taking down 2 keeps by himself. And I'm just like, that's okay. I got this. I come back alive every time. It doesn't matter what level they got now, but yeah. It's not very solid now to me anymore because the XP, of course, it's not a murky. It gives way too much. I don't want to really do that kind of thing unless my team is zoning their team. I can do something like that, but so far all the abilities are extremely powerful, especially Drain Hope. Oh my god, just use it on a tank. They're
Yep.
too slow to get away, and you can recover all your HP. Just don't use it on any fast heroes, and you're good to go. So yeah, that's
Alright.
what I think about him. He's just really good overall.
Alright, so that was good, just general introduction to King Leoric, people's feelings and opinions, and just so we'll actually get into some of his abilities now, just have a quick look at him. for those who haven't actually been able to play Leoric yet because they haven't had the gold, or they don't want to fork over the money, or it's just they just haven't got around to doing it. So
Yeah,
King Leoric, we said
I
before.
personally haven't played him.
Well, he but played against him. I'm sure you have. I'm sure
Yeah,
you've been in
yeah.
game with one, maybe two Leorics, especially if you fire up those quick matches. All right, so King Leoric, like I said, he's a warrior, so obviously he has all the general sturdiness of a warrior class or warrior role in the game. His first ability, his Q, is his skeletal swing. So basically, this is just a frontal arc swing. Where, sorry, I'd say frontal arc. It's actually positional. You can choose in which direction you want to swing out from. It deals 110 damage plus 10 per level and slows the enemies for 40% for 2.5 seconds. It also deals double damage to all non-heroic sources, and it's on an 8-second cooldown. So it's this ability. Let's just talk about it.
People seem to forget that it does the double damage to anything that
Yes.
isn't heroic. This guy is a monster at taking early objectives. If you have something like a Jaina with you, you go take the early siege giants, they're yours.
Yep.
In about 3 or 4 seconds. He's going to get those down quick.
Yeah, I mean, this ability, mate, this is bread and butter ability, right? You are almost spamming, and I'll say almost spamming it when you get into fights. You can clear minion waves, clears walls, keeps, clears merc camps. I mean, he is a monster at the PvE element of the game, and I think it's and not to mention the slow that's built into this. So you say that it's good against the minion waves, good against the merc camps and stuff. How does the slow work into this ability?
Oh, man.
It's perfect for... He doesn't have innate mobility outside of his wraith walk, and even that has its own drawbacks. For a warrior to have a slow that's got a somewhat low cooldown and it's an AoE, it's the perfect thing for him to catch up to the pesky Kael'thas he himself doesn't have an escape. You're Leoric, there's a Kael'thas. You're not going anywhere, buddy. Sorry.
And that's actually really good. And that's the point I think a lot of people misuse the skeleton swing as well, or are starting to sort of develop this idea. It's because of that slow. So how does King Leoric tank? So this is probably one of his main abilities to use during a fight, and it's got an 8-second cooldown, so it's quite considerably long. You pop it, you got to wait 8 seconds before you're really doing an AoE sort of cleave or slowing people down. This is your peel. This is how you save your teammates. When Zeratul jumps on Jaina in your back line, and you've got to rush over there to sort of pull them off, this is your slow. This is your peel. So I think I see a lot of fights where they engage the fight. The first thing they do is smash out a skeleton swing, hoping that the 8 seconds cooldown is done before something's happened to their teammates. So you see that initial swing go on, and bam, everyone's jumping into the back line, moshing face with all the nice, lovely squishies and supports and healers. So that's slow. I mean, that is how he saves people. He peels them off by slowing them down so you can run away and disengage. And then it also gives King Leoric himself a chance to get in for the body block. So, what do you guys think? That you agree that is the idea behind the skeletal swing in its two form?
I disagree to a point. I think Leoric functions better when he's attacking the enemy's backline and being disruptive.
Yeah.
I'm not sure he operates in the same function as a Muradin, for example, who he's probably one of the better tanks to sit on your backline and defend your squishies against the Zeratul or the Vala. I think Leoric works better is if you're going in to start fights. Say, drop the Entomb on two of the enemies, sit there, skeletal swing, do as much damage as you can. I think he works better as a damage dealer as opposed to a disruption.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
He's
right.
definitely, and you can't really run him as like a solo warrior. I don't think he's kind of like Sonya in a way. Like he's like just kind of destroys squishy targets, but he's not really that much of a tank. I wouldn't say.
Because outside of that, he lacks any major cooldowns. Like you got ETC, who at level 13 can get Power Slide Challenge, reduces damage taken by 25%. He kind of lacks any hard defensives outside of his Great Hope. Meaning, I think, that's my personal opinion, he works better when he's in the enemy backline, just trying to hurt people.
Yep. So to keep using his abilities to sort of disrupt them as opposed to defend with.
Just piss him off. In a way.
All right, awesome. So that's his skeletal swing. And so this is only one ability, and we've already talked about different aspects behind it. So we'll move on to his next one. So his next one is Drain Hope. So Drain Hope is grab an enemy hero's soul, dealing up to 25% of their maximum health as damage, and healing you for 20% of your maximum life over 4 seconds. And then you physically are slowed by 20% while this is active. So tell me about Drain Hope, guys. It's how should you be playing this ability?
Drops tanks.
Yep.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
destroys them.
Get the closest one. Never go for the fast heroes that can escape easily. You don't want to break the chain, and just keep pushing on. Synergies very well with skeleton swing as well. You want to do Drain Hope then swing, so they can't run away at all.
Yeah.
What I seem to find with this ability is that people seem to forget it's percentage based, meaning this thing scales harder than any other ability in the game. It makes them so hard to lane against early game.
Yep.
So in typical competitive gameplay, you'll generally see a tank matchup in lane for the most part. That's accurate, right? You put a Morton against the Leoric. Well, Morton doesn't have the damage to compete with Leoric. Leoric's taken 25% of his health in 4 or 5 seconds. How do you deal with that?
Yeah. No, exactly. And I mean, when you're going into those fights, you should be dropping it on their tank. Their tank, either makes the decision of do I run away or do I wear this. You got to make those calls on the thing. It's actually an interesting thing to note about this ability as well is for those that aren't aware is that it's actually exponential in the way it does its damage as well. Is that its first tick and its last tick aren't constant. So the first 2 seconds, it does whatever damage it does, but then in the last 2 seconds of the ability, it actually does more damage on the ticks. The ticks are actually,
the longer you've got it applied to them.
Exactly. It's on an exponential ramp, and it's and I think that's a lot of things people are missing out on as well. Is that when you land this, it's not just like, okay, I've done half the damage it's going to do. It's like, no, you want the full 4 seconds. The full 4 seconds are the pure damage. At 2 seconds, you're not getting anywhere as near value as the 4. Obviously, that's a true statement, right? Regardless of how much damage it did all the time. But those first 2 ticks are really nothing. You've got to get those last 2 ticks off to really make it have any substantial gain.
And it's ridiculous the amount of times I've seen people just try to 1v1 Leoric, like, with the drain on, and it's just like, that's not going to work out for you, buddy. Just run. Just run.
Run away. King Leoric will kill you and hunt you down. All right, and so so his last ability, Wraith Walk, and I think that this is just an interesting one in its own right. It's separate from your body, becoming unstoppable and gaining movement speed, accelerating 50% over 2.5 seconds. When Wraith Walk ends or is cancelled, your body jumps to where your Wraith is. All right, what's your opinion, guys? So, Shadowrogue, I'll get your opinion first a little bit as well. But what's your opinion? Is this an engage? Is this an escape? Is this a way to scout? Like this ability sounds like it has so many uses, and every game you could use it in a wildly different fashion.
I think with Wraith Walk, with my experience, I've been using it more to escape rather than to engage or catch up to people. I mean, let's say my last game I just had today was against a KT in Jaina. Now, that's very hard to escape from, especially at the CC. When they want to land all the things on me, I just want to walk away, especially if I get too far in a team fight and team's backing off. I got to join them as fast as possible. I can't get caught. But with this, just being unstoppable and the acceleration rate, the speed of just running away with as a Wraith is really good. I mean, you just get away instantly. They're not going to catch you. Yeah, if you want to stay extra beefy as well, not take too much damage, for the talent 4, Hardened Bones take 25% less damage. I tend to use that a lot. I don't want to, while they're hurting me, while I'm trying to Wraith out of my way out of there. Yeah, I want to keep being tanky as possible. So yeah, that's my opinion on it. Just more of an escape tool rather than engaging, rather than anything else really. So yeah, it's a shame that it can't go through terrain, but I understand that's OP as hell. But yeah, it's nice to run away really fast, and then you get hard engaged on.
So it's a bit of interesting in that one that you can't go through terrain, but you can go through the walls in the fortifications and the keeps, near the keeps and forts. You can actually go through those. That's an interesting choice there. Leoric's everywhere, getting kicked or thrown or caught into the enemy's base can actually go through their walls. If you didn't know that, interesting tidbit. All right, so that's a Wraith Walk. So use it to escape. I think most people should be using it to escape, to be honest. It's just a really beautiful escape. Actually, one interesting thing you said taking the Heart and Bone talent at level 4. I've actually read a lot of people talking about that being a great choice because people, not realizing what you're doing, are continuing to wail on your body while you're running away in Wraith Walk, and you're just tanking so much more damage in that as well. It's almost like I don't know, a stupid man's attack target when you Wraith Walk away with the Heart and Bones. But that's it. So, anyone got any other differing opinions, views on Wraith Walk? I mean, I think it's just got so much versatility. That's what I love about this.
You can use it for gap closing, getting out, like juking people, I guess. But yeah.
I'm a fan of the comedic effect for it. Use Wraith Walk. Because like I said, so you can't be stopped doing this thing, right? So you pop Wraith Walk, charge the Kael'thas, drop Entomb. There's nothing you can do about it. He's trapped. I just love that for the comedic effect. Who wouldn't get the shit scared out of them when that kind of stuff happens?
Oh, massive. So we've dropped the phrase Entomb a couple times now. So we'll go on to his heroics. So King Leoric's got 2 heroic abilities he can take at level 10. His first heroic is Entomb, and it creates an unpathable tomb in front of you for 4 seconds. Is anyone who can't visualize that? If you've really Diablo 3, it's the Waller effect. When the minion has the wall thing he does to you, effectively it launches out from you. Well, I don't know, best way to say it: 2 walls and a back wall. No one on the podcast will be able to see that description. Can't escape from it. It's apparently there's a couple of bugs and people can jump and leap and teleport over it. But if you can't do any of those, or if they're on cooldown, you are trapped, and King Leoric and all his best friends are going to pound you in the face.
You just end up walking in circles, getting body blocked to hell.
So that's his first heroic ability, Entomb. His second one is March of the Black King. Leoric becomes unstoppable and swings his mace in a direction 3 times. Heals yourself for 7% of your maximum health for each enemy hero hit, and it deals a decent amount of damage, 210 damage plus 10 per level. So at level 20, you're doing like 400 damage. 410 damage there. What are you guys' opinions? Which heroic do you guys choose? What's your favorite? Which one do you think has more situational value over the other? Which one has more?
I've only ever used Entomb. I haven't used much the Black King. I've used Entomb, and I'm a fan of utility spells. You know, it doesn't necessarily do huge damage, but all the different things you can set up. If you trap 3 or 4 heroes, well, that's a free KT Flame Strike. Or a Jaina combo, all sorts of stuff like that. I just love utility spells more so than flat-out damage, because aside from that, Entomb is generally pretty easy to land. It's almost instantaneous.
I feel like it could be, heroics would be quite situational, because it's like, one, you can set up other damage, or one, you can do a lot of damage and healing if you've got a setup for it, because, I mean, March of the Black King is pretty easy to dodge, and you just pretty much walk around him or walk over him. So yeah,
that's it. He's when you do cast it, obviously he takes 3 swings, mighty swings, but continues on in that direction of the swings. So yeah, it's very easy to get around, get behind him, and take no damage.
It's on paper, it looks like a pretty decent ability, but in practice, it's not as good as it could be. Like, if you were able to manipulate the direction he's running while swinging more, I think it'd have a more usefulness. But as it stands, it's a bit shallow in what you can do with it at the moment. You need a particular setup in order to make this thing as effective as it could be.
So it's just Shadowrogue, what about your opinions on it? March of the Black King or Entomb?
I feel like there's at least one con for the Tomb. I noticed that I know it's instantaneous, but it gives the opponent at least that 1 to 2 seconds to get away before it's fully enclosed on someone. I feel like it's nice and all, but because I think maybe these might be people's ideas, I don't know, but because it has no damage, it's not bringing too much, unlike Black King, the March of the Black King. I've been taking March of the Black King so far, to use it to heal myself rather than to damage people, and it's been working so far. I just need to position and predict ahead. Will these people stay, or will these people move out of the way? And maybe it works better on small enclosed maps. Let's say Cursed Hollow, because of the terrain, you can bounce off the walls with the ultimate. I know you can do that. So yeah, it just depends, I guess. Up to the people. You want to trap people, or you want to dish them out and keep being tanky.
Yeah.
So that's my opinion of it.
All right. So we're still at a situation where everyone still has their favorite heroic, and none's really starting to shine out. It's personally, I'm on the camp of the March of the Black King. Even though it doesn't do a lot of damage, I mean that 7% heal of your life per hit, per hero hit. I mean that, to me, it only takes one swing against 3 heroes to get really good value out of it, I feel. But I mean, it's definitely it's easy to escape, get around. Entomb. I've killed a lot of allies with Entomb, I have to admit. It's I've walled people I've walled people in with other people when they're trying to escape. I've pushed my teammates out into a position where they haven't been able to retreat from, and I've seen but I've done some really good stuff as well. I guess you're right. I think would it be a fair judgment to say that March of the Black King's kind of a little more of a if you don't know your team, you can kind of take that and at least get some good done with it. Where in Tomb, you've really got to combo it with something else because it is a very soft. It's not even a CC. It's like it's a soft block basically. It's a hard block, but they can teleport over. Say if you're running a team and you got a comp in mind, do the Entomb. But if you're not sure what's going on, March of the Black King might just get you a little bit more value.
Yeah, definitely. March of the Black King seems like one of those abilities that you take into QM and to the hugging of Hero League, and you're going to do fairly well with it because your teammates realize, okay, he's got this ability, let's back him right up when he goes in ham. But in more competitive sense, I do think Entomb is going to have a lot more value.
All right, cool. So phew, that's some really good points. We're very, very quickly running out of time. There were so many more things I'd like to talk about, King Leoric. But the one thing we haven't talked about yet that I think we have to bring up, because if we didn't, it would be silly, and we have to talk about his trait, because we haven't actually discussed it yet. So King Leoric's trait is the Undying, and this trait effectively reads, with Undying, become a ghost when you die, and you resurrect upon reaching full health. Your abilities don't do damage while dead, but you can still heal, causing you to cheat death, which effectively means causing you to resurrect faster. What I mean that sounds awesome on paper. How have you guys experienced it so far in the Nexus?
It's bloody annoying to verse. It's like murky, but he actually does stuff throughout the whole game. It's like, yeah, it's like on some maps, it's like, oh, we finally got rid of someone, and then they're actually just up. Like, even if it's like, say, I don't know, 15 minutes into a game, he's up again in like 15 seconds. It's ridiculous.
Mm.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times that I've been in a team fight and we've managed to nuke out the Leoric because he's out of position, and we chase them down, we start the fight again. It's like, oh wait, where the hell did he come from? What are you doing?
Yeah. You always forget about him. It's like, oh, we've just killed like the tank. Let's just like keep going. Then all of a sudden he's just back after like a few seconds. It's like, Jesus Christ.
I mean, at least with a Murky, he dies in about 2 seconds. Okay, and
Yeah.
then he's gone again. Leoric, damn it, what do we do? He's a tank. How do we kill this again?
Have to get through all that life once more.
He's like becoming the new Joanna. Just ignore him and just go for the rest of his team. But like he actually does damage. So
yeah, that's the biggest part. He does stupid amounts of damage. His auto attack damage is crazy.
So looking at that with the ghost, so he doesn't do any damage with his ghost, but in his ghost form, he is doing slow. So even when he's taken out in a team fight, he's actually still having a pretty good effect on the fight. He's slowing down the enemy. Just slowing down. He's still peeling from the grave. So I love that line, peeling from the grave. So Shadow, what are your opinions? Undying trait, is it good? Is it bad? We've heard he's not murky. He doesn't play like murky. He's not murky when
that's
you
just a
die.
message to everyone who plays Hearts. He's not murky.
I think the concept of just coming back on the spot is very nice, and the addition to it is you're doing some slow, and you're doing another W to get your ghost health back to full health. and I feel like it's on par with the Vikings hero trait, the fast restart, and
Yeah.
let's just say the Talent 20. I don't know if it's still there, but the sequel with 50% get back,
Yep.
in the fire after that. Yeah, so I feel like it's on par with Vikings. I mean,
Mm.
you want to come back as fast as possible, join your team, help them out still, and
Yep.
it's nice to know that you're still lingering there and doing something, not just sitting down there and waiting. So it's nice to know, yeah, you're still active on the go, and yeah, you can over mind power opponents like, oh no, he's coming back soon. We gotta
Yep.
jump. We can't.
Yep.
We're maybe low on people or
Mm.
manpower, something like that. Yeah.
All right, awesome. So dying is not as much as a problem for King Leoric as it is for any other heroes. But he's not murky. When you die, you do give full experience to the enemy. Please do not have 10 kills, 38 deaths in your game.
Do you imagine what a murky Leoric team would be like? I trade quit. Screw that. I'm done. I've killed you people 5 times each, and you're still in a fight. Screw it. I'm done. Out.
Don't you think you should be able to play murky? You should be able to have 5 murkies on your team. Like everyone go
Oh my
murky.
gosh.
It's just for
I
you.
would die tomorrow if that was a thing. And yes, this is something that needs to happen. Blizzard, please give us 5v5 murky. I will love you forever.
Yeah,
The wombo
just
combo.
March of the
Yes.
Murlocs.
Just five
Yeah.
waves of Murlocs hitting things. That'd be fantastic.
All right, so we are, like I said, we are running a little bit out of time. There's just a couple. The last thing I want to bring up was just the general consensus I've gotten from the community as a whole on King Leoric is that a lot of people actually feel he's a bit underrated, underpowered, and that he doesn't really have a good position in the Heroes of the Storm roster at the moment. Interesting enough, from the ANZ scene, community scene, however, has a much stronger liking of him when you actually talk to people. Interesting feel from that. I just thought it was an interesting thing to point out. I feel he's actually a very diverse, very well built hero. Um, his talents. We're not going to talk about his talents. It's even if we did have time, we wouldn't talk about him. He's I think he's just got one of the best talent trees in the game. I think it's diverse. You can build him in many different ways, and he's got a lot of viability in that regards. So anyway, that's the last point. We are running out. Have run out of time. So just to follow up, that's it. That is our game discussion gun on King Leoric. Welcome to the storm, you beautiful beast. All right, guys. So that's it. That is the end of the show. Thanks. So just a huge shout out to everyone that joined the show tonight, guys. Thanks very much for coming on. You were excellent. If people were interested, where could they find you, Morton? Where could they find you if they wanted to talk to you more about your awesome insights into the game?
Yeah, awesome insights. Just add me on HOTS really, which is Morton number 1373. Almost elite, close,
Yep.
but yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right, awesome. So that's William Morton. Also, thank you very much, Clapton, for coming on as well. If people wanted to talk to you a bit more, mate, where can they find you out? Where can they see any updates or cool stuff coming from you?
Well, I don't have a life. So I'm on the forums most of the time. I think you've seen some of my comments. I'm a bit of a troll. I'm a bit of a douche. That kind of crap. You'll find me on the forums or in Heroes of the Storm. Feel free to add me. I'm always down for a few games.
All right, awesome.
Yes.
And Shadowrogue, yourself, mate. Again, thank you very much for coming on the show. What about you? Do you have a Twitter? Do you have a Twitch? Do you have an ANZ account of Heroes of the Storm? I'm sure one of those is right.
Yeah, you can. I've had a few people for my team. We've added each other on Facebook, so yeah, you can locate me on Facebook as well, or on Heroes of the Storm as well. Battle.net. I mean, I can list my ID. It's just Shadowrogue at 1366. That's what it is.
Yep.
And yeah, I can talk to anyone. Have a cool chat, and yeah, just chill. All good.
Awesome, very much. And for you guys who are interested in following Disconcur, I have a magnitude of stuff. So obviously, if you want to know more about my stuff, you can jump on YouTube, look up Disconcur. You can also jump on Twitter. I'm at Disconcur. You can go to my blog, disconcur.com. You can also not add me on Skype. Facebook. I have a Facebook page, Disconcur as well. And of course, if you want Heroes Untapped podcast updates and news and stuff, disconcur.com is the best place. Every Thursday when we don't have issues is when a new episode of Heroes Untapped will be released of details. And special for everyone who has survived to this moment and the podcast as well, I will be running a Heroes Untapped competition. Up for grabs are 3 heroes. It's
Three.
there are 3 heroes for first, second, and third place. It's all you need to do is there is 3 heroes. There's a Morton and a Skin hero code. There is a Jaina hero code and a Lily hero code.
He's been talking to HappyRage, you know this, right?
I have a.
No, yeah.
That's right. It's when I post the message up on Twitch that the podcast is available to download and listen to. For everyone who retweets that, you go into the chance to get drawn out, and there will be a first position, second position, third position. If you are in the first position, you get to pick one of any of the codes. If you're in the second position, you get to pick out of the 2 remaining codes. And in the third position, I assume you're going to have to get Lily. Or you'll get the remaining code.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with Lily. Just because her skins suck doesn't mean she's a bad hero.
Sorry, actually, did I say Twitch? Someone just commented on the chat. I mean Twitter. I will post it to Twitter. If you retweet it, you get a chance to possibly pick a code. Or pick out of 2 codes, or pick out of the remaining code. And that's on Twitter. So follow me on Twitter at Disconcur to check that out. Anyway, thanks very much for everyone for watching. You've been a great set of listeners, viewers, however you're coming to, however you're reading this, listening to it, or watching it. And thanks very much, everyone. This has been Heroes Untapped, episode 2. Hey.
Peace.
Peace out, sis.
All right, that's done. All right, thanks very much, guys. It's been fantastic. And